20 contenders remain, and we are about to put them to the test. They are vying for only a few spots to join the locks as the main cast of So You Think You Can Tout. And for today's challenge, they were told to prepare a 60-second monologue for a pretty simple prompt. Who is the best pick on the board right now? Here's the thing though. That of course is way too easy. There needed to be a curveball. After they delivered their 60-second spiel, I hit them with the truth. That's not actually the prompt you're going to be judged on today.
Oh, really?
I knew there was going to be a twist, man. All right, let's do it. I love it.
All right, give it to me.
Up until this moment, our contestants have been able to literally script all of their audition materials, but that was about to change. It was time to see who had a plan after getting punched in the mouth. It was time to see if these contenders can actually tout. I'll be your host, Peter Overzet.
So you think you can tout? You fucking ain't right, we fucking think we can.
The fantasy football space is filled with hot takes. Everyone has them. They don't make you special. What really makes for a good tout is someone who understands both the pros and cons of every player and can debate it from either side. There's an old adage that if you can't intelligently argue for both sides of an issue, you don't understand the issue well enough to argue for either. Being able to articulate both sides of a debate is a hallmark trait for any great analyst. This challenge would force our contestants out of their comfort zone. Anyone can script a 60-second player take, but we needed to see who had the chops to not only stress test and interrogate their own beliefs, but do it on the fly in a high-pressure improvisational setting. Oh, and be entertaining in the process. As you might expect, Kurt Rambis, one of our biggest wild cards, came in hot. Dude, you got the beer going?
Well, yeah, we just got done with soccer practice and shit. This is like beer number 2.
He's an exterminator by day, but he loves drafting fantasy teams.
Hey, I'm Kurt Rambis. I'm a wannabe tout, but, you know, I'm basically a tout anyways, because I know what I'm talking about. We like to drink brews, and we like to draft shippers, and we like to fuck shit up. That's how we do it.
We knew Rambis was a character, but it was time to hear his player take. Are you ready to go?
Run it. It's Ashton motherfucking Genty, buddy. He's coming. He's at 12 right now. 12. Guess what? Worst run blocking team in the league last year. Raiders. Guess who they added? Tyler Linderbaum out of Iowa. 3-time Pro Bowler. Coming from the Ravens, who had the second best rushing offense in the league last year. You don't think that makes a difference? Guess what? Rambis does. So, yeah, you add that along with the fact that Chip Kelly, bye-bye. Anyone else is an upgrade over him. Let's take a fact here for you, Pete. Guess how many carries Genty got inside the 10 last year? How many you think? It was 9. 9. You don't think that's getting better? Geno Smith's gone. We're bringing in Mendoza and Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins going to make it, what, like 3-4 games before he gets replaced? This is the number 1 overall pick. Genty, top 10 selection. I mean, really? Top 10 selection. Okay. Are we worried about Mike Washington?
Your time's up. Your time's up.
Well, I could have kept going forever. He's the best pick on the board, baby.
Rambis, shut the fuck up and listen to what I'm about to say.
Okay, my bad.
Then I hit him with the twist.
I figured. You can't make it that easy on me. Oh, Mike Washington Jr. Yeah, you got him in like the 4th round. I mean, let's be worried. You know, Genty only had 90% of the inside the 5 carries last year. That could turn down to 70%. Ooh, scary. You know, I mean, that's a problem. What if Kirk Cousins is in there all season? What if Mendoza just doesn't play? You know, what if they just decide, hey, you know, let's just pound Mike Washington and just throw the ball in the air the whole time? What if week 16, 17, what if he's carried the ball so much and scored so many points he just gets hurt in the playoffs and he's worthless? What if Jonathan Taylor's the guy you needed? You know, what if? There's a lot of possibilities. What if he's just too jacked up? What if they think he's, you know, immortal and they just pound him too much and then, you know, that's a problem, so he's going to get hurt. You know, that we can't overuse him. I mean, just because he looks like a monster doesn't mean, you know, he can just handle that kind of workload.
It was so hard for you to say anything bad about Genty. I could tell. You did not want to
pained me.
disparage
It
your
really
boy.
pained me. It pained me a lot. Yeah, that hurt. That hurt in every second.
Our internal team would be judging each contestant's performance in this challenge on 3 factors. 1, composure. How did you handle the twist? Were you absolutely rattled? Did you get flustered or look like a deer in the headlights? Number 2, charisma. With no script or plan, did you stiffen up or could you remain entertaining and energetic? And number 3, the content. Was your bear case just gibberish or did you make some interesting and logical counterpoints? Kurt's content, if we're being honest, was average. He stumbled out of the gate with his Mike Washington sarcasm, but eventually found a few points. We gave him a 6 on that category. His charisma, though, is a 10. The dude is bouncing off the walls every second he's on screen, and his composure was solid. He maintained his high energy despite not having his talking points. He finished with a 7.6 across all 3 of those categories. Kurt very much remains a wild card, but he's absolutely electric and adding fans quickly, including a stamp of approval from late round QB. He joins the locks in the next round. As you might imagine though, not all of these interviews went well. In fact, some went horribly, and that was before we even got to the tout twist. So we have it for the camera. Say your name and who you are. Example, I would say, my name's Peter Overzet, and I'm a content creator in the fantasy football space.
My name is, okay, sorry, say that one more time.
My name and who you are.
Okay. My name is Seth. I'm, okay, I'm so sorry. I'm really, really nervous about this.
Stop being nervous. Just be yourself. Just be, your name and a little thing about you.
Hello, my name is Seth, and I am, so you think you can tout?
A tout. That's like the book I read to my daughter, The Pout Pout Fish. Anyways, after Seth was able to, tell me his name, he did give me the bull case on Brian Thomas Jr.
Pete, I to be completely honest, I think that is Brian Thomas Jr. He had a really, really bad year last year. And I think the reason for that is he was a lot more hurt than people would like to lead you to believe. We didn't really get as much information on his injury last year as you probably would have thought, especially for the output that he had. He was the wide receiver 4 in his rookie season. Wide receiver 4. He was 20 points behind Justin Jefferson in his rookie year. And so for us to be drafting him in the 6th round, it just doesn't make, we're drafting Emeka Egbuka. We are drafting Garrett Wilson. We are drafting Teteroa McMillan above Brian Thomas Jr. He has so much potential. I don't understand why he is not a 3rd round pick. He is unbelievable what he did in his rookie year. There is literally not a single wide receiver that did what he did in his rookie year that sucked.
Are you ready for your real challenge?
I'm ready for my real challenge. Yeah, so I to be completely honest, he was injured a little bit last year, but I don't think that really, he was really scared of getting hit. If you just watch some of those, he kind of shies away from the ball. You have Parker Washington breaking out that year. You have Travis Hunter, who everyone says is a cornerback, but he's going to take meaningful reps away from Brian Thomas Jr. And then they brought in a guy halfway through the season. After they brought Jacoby Myers in, you don't almost see anything from Brian Thomas Jr. at all. And so it's really hard for me to believe that Brian Thomas Jr., when there are all these other people, and that's not even to mention Brenton Strange. Brenton Strange has such an ability to just take a lot of meaningful shares of the ball away from Brian Thomas Jr. And so I would be fading him this year in fantasy football.
BB Chosen snuck his way into the competition, but his run ends here. The composure was a disaster, and the content and charisma were average at best, resulting in a score of 3.9. At the very least, Seth does not lack confidence as he gets shown the door.
Well, I wasn't really expecting it, and I didn't really have any time to prepare for it, but I think that I actually did pretty well for kind of a shocker there.
Give yourself a numerical score on 1 to 10.
I'll give myself an 8.
One of the craziest things about this contender challenge was how a few of the contestants completely reshaped our perception of them. Take, for instance, Nathaniel Wright. Absolute mystery wildcard. He had an unhinged submission that felt like he was playing a character, but we weren't completely sure what his deal was. Where are you broadcasting from?
This is my room in cast housing in Shipshewana, Indiana.
Okay, wait, what's cast housing?
I'm an actor, so the cast gets put up in houses while we I'm here for a musical.
He said he was a performer in his application, but we didn't know the specifics. I think I honestly thought he might have been in the circus.
Do a lot of like regional musicals. I've been in a couple of like short films, one movie that's on like a streaming service, just a bunch of random different things.
No joke, Nathaniel was the last contender to sneak in on our list, the bubble boy, if you will. His submission was just so bizarre, but then Mayo kind of convinced us that something interesting might be here.
When I saw the first, 000 on the video being my face and Pat Mayo being like,
oh my
God, no, absolutely not. This guy's crazy. I'm like, yes, I am crazy, but it was great. But when I saw the announcement, I leapt up, I was screaming, clapping my hands together like Jason Garrett back when he was coaching the Cowboys.
Of course, the real question we had was whether Nathaniel knew ball. We had to find out. Nathaniel, who is the best pick on the board right now?
I think it's really simple, Pete. Juwan Johnson is the best pick on the board. He's got really, really good yards per route run for a tight end. We're expecting the Saints to be a really good offense this year with the addition of Jordan Tyson and then Chris Olave. And even if for some reason something happens to one of them, that just means Juwan Johnson's target share can go up even further. I think he should be going in the range with Jake Ferguson, with Mark Andrews, with Travis Kelce, because he had similar stats to those guys last year. The only thing is, and everyone always talks about this with Trey McBride, they never talk about it with my boy Juwan Johnson. He just doesn't get the touchdowns. And we know that's fluky year to year. So I would draft him around ADP of 115. He's going in the 150s right now. He is such an extreme value, and I just want to load up on him.
Here's the thing, Nathaniel. That's not actually the prompt you're going to be judged on today.
All right. It'd be insane to think Juwan Johnson is the best pick on the board. He's awful. Like, you added Jordan Tyson. Chris Olave is a true number one wide receiver. Tyler Shuck is 26, and he's not going to get any better. He's not good. Tyler Shuck is a bad quarterback. He couldn't even beat Spencer Rattler out for the starting job last year. Juwan Johnson, his yards per route run is inflated because Kellen Moore's offense. And Kellen Moore's offense is now going to focus on the better receivers in Jordan Tyson, and probably Devon Vele is going to get even more run. Juwan Johnson, he's probably should be going around Pat Freiermuth, and then how can I forget Noah Fant on the team? Noah Fant is just a better version of Juwan Johnson, and he's right there, ready to steal his job.
I kept my composure with Nathaniel, but I was legitimately shocked by this performance. We gave him a 7.7. I didn't think he was going to have the chops to talk football, and yet he nailed it.
I think that's something I'm good at, is like, oh, you want me to just argue? I'll argue, sure. The points are irrelevant. There's good and bad points to every player.
I truly am stunned that we went from a cold open gag in the Mayo audition episode to advancing to the next round. But that's the beauty of this contest. No one, not even us, has any clue how this is going to shake out week to week. And speaking of surprises, Jiri was another one of the fringe contenders who barely made the cut. He's a big goofy dude who cracked us up with some of his deliveries.
I'm not afraid to let it hang, swang that dang lang, y'all.
Even if Mayo was disappointed by the reveal.
This guy not having a German accent the moment he started speaking really threw me.
Fortunately, Jerry knows how to embrace a bit.
Guten Tag. Straight Jägermeister.
The dude showed up in full German regalia for his challenge. We were off to a great start.
My name is Derek Jiri. I'm a first-year best ball streamer on YouTube.
It was time to see if he had the fantasy chops to pair with the Stein. Jiri, who is the best pick on the board right now?
The best pick on the board in fantasy football right now is K. Doughton, for a few reasons. First of all, the position he plays and where he goes in drafts. Being a late-round tight end, he fits any build you want. 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends, elite, fade, whatever you want. The Buccaneers offense is going to improve with a healthy Baker Mayfield. There's end zone vacancies, targets with Mike Evans departing. Sure, you could say Ted Hurst being a big body coming in, but Cade Otton just turned 27, got the contract extension, has chemistry with Baker Mayfield, and he's going to be the guy this year that just randomly gets double-digit touchdowns like Dallas Goedert, like Robert Tonyan. That's Cade Otton this year. Make sure he's in your lineup. Best pick on the board.
I'm not sure what I was more stunned by, the later Hosen or caping for Cade Otton. In a way, it was a genius pick by Jerry because the bear case shouldn't be that difficult. The clock starts now.
Cade Otton is the worst pick in fantasy football. I mean, he's an unathletic white boy with a lot of target competition. All right, they just brought in Ted Hurst, a 6'4" receiver who's going to get all the end zone targets now. Who needs Mike Evans? You got Jalen McMillan, okay? 15 touchdowns for the McMillions. Cade Otton, pretty much a water boy. I mean, if you look at his haircut, you think that guy can really make moves after catching the ball or even get in the end zone. He doesn't know how to dance. He can't celebrate. Cade Otton is the worst pick on the board.
Man, like Nathaniel, I did not see this coming from Jerry. He went from fringe contender to receiving one of the highest scores in the challenge, an 8.8. Out of nowhere, Jerry is joining the locks. He earned it. On the flip side of the spectrum, we had high hopes for Max Adam coming into this challenge. We loved his submission, but Mayo didn't really vibe with him. We thought he'd crush this challenge, though.
Mike Evans is the best pick on the board. We've seen the best picks, they all have asymmetric upside. And how does Mike Evans do that? He magnifies his own luck by consolidating high-value touches, those being deep targets or red zone targets. He consolidated already in Tampa, but Baker Mayfield, with his bum shoulder, was terrible at giving catchable targets in these domains. Brock Purdy and Mac Jones, first and fourth last year, and in the last 3 years, Brock Purdy second overall. Mike Evans is going to this amazing situation, and he's also back with a McShanahan play caller, which he was elite with Liam Cohen, but then faltered with Josh Broussard. And also, we have no Debo Ayuk Kittle. He's competing against Purple Heart Pearsall and Jonathan Mingo on a peptide stack in DeJon Stribling. So he can marry this efficiency with this consolidation of high-value touches. He can smash in a manner that's kind of like a 2025 JSN meets 2020 Adam Thielen. And I really think he should go in the Nico range. And I'd probably take even odds on him versus Jefferson.
Unfortunately, Max, that was not the prompt you're going to be judged on today.
Okay.
Were you scripting that one? Were you reading there? Did I catch you scripting that one?
I wrote notes, but that was pretty much off the cuff.
Well, guess what? This next one will, by necessity, it'll be off the cuff.
Well, Mike Evans has never played he's very rarely played a full season. He's currently, had a lot of soft tissue injuries. And coming to San Francisco, they've had their problems with either, the substation or the health staff have both been highly questionable as far as their health personnel goes. And then, he's just getting to an age where a critical fall off could happen, like he's hitting the cliff. He completely underperformed last year, regardless of the situation. You'd have to expect it more. And then Ricky Pearsall last year, when in the first 4 weeks before he got injured, was such a strong young player that in a possible ascension could just alpha Mike Evans. And he's a terrible pick when Ricky Pearsall is going 4 rounds later and is putting up amazing stats in those first 4 weeks, but has just been constantly hindered by injuries.
Man. Max was just too stiff. The twist truly seemed to rattle him. The casual confidence in his other videos was just not there in this live setting. The low composure and charisma scores resulted in a 5.6 score from our team. Max knew it wasn't his strongest effort.
The bull case I felt pretty strong about. I would give that like a 9. And then the bear case, I'd probably give myself, we'll just go with the Mayo 6.
Max has a ton of potential. Make sure you follow him on X, but he's just not ready for what this competition requires, at least for now. We don't think you can tout. Next up, a relative unknown in this competition, outside of the best ball lobbies, that is.
My name is Matt White, otherwise known as Updog in the best ball streets, and I'm just a longtime grinder.
He seemed pretty nervous to me before we got rolling.
It's a little nerve-wracking, but it's cool.
Updog, who is the best pick on the board right now?
All right, so if we're talking half PPR best ball drafts, the guy who's going to win you the tournament, I'm trying to keep it simple this early into the year. There's a lot of variables. I'm looking for a young, explosive running back whose role might not be, priced in properly by the market. So at pick 180, there's a guy who last year on limited touches, if you take the top 60 RBs in per touch metrics, this guy was first in EPA, first in explosive runs, first in broken tackles, second in yards, third in yak. Any idea who this is, Pete? He might have got a shutout on chip chasing today. Well, Mr. Howie Roseman, he knows who he is. He traded a 5th and 6th round pick for him last year. Following that, this year, he brought in 2 coordinators from Green Bay. Last year, the last 2 years, Green Bay has the 2nd most rushing touchdowns and the 3rd most rushing pass rate. Okay, the Eagles, it's pretty simple. This year, they're going to run the ball. They're going to play good defense. Oh, really? Oh, my God.
I was thinking, I don't know if you said the player, Matt. Who is the player?
Oh, my gosh. I was almost done, honestly. The player in question is Tank Bigsby.
We eventually got to the bear case on Tank, but the damage was done. He knew it didn't go well.
I struggled with this in my pitch video. I got a lot to say, and I really think I can construct an argument. But being on the clock like this is tough because I'm a bit of a nervous wreck out here, so it's not easy. Yeah, it's certainly tougher than it looks.
Shout out to Updog for putting himself out there, coming out from behind the avatar. Like he said, it is much harder than it looks. But unfortunately, Updog, we don't think you can tout. A lot of people thought our next contestant deserved lock status heading out of the audition round.
Yeah, I'm the commish. My real name's Mitchell Daigle. I am mostly a commissioner in my home league, but in this challenge, I've started producing content for a larger scale audience, no longer for just my friends. So it's been super fun so far, super exciting, and hopefully it gets to continue.
We've loved all of the content Mitchell has been making about the contest with the Tout House, but it was time to see if he could, tout. Mitchell, aka the commish, who is the best pick on the board right now?
Yeah, so I know this week is a little bit of a holiday for the best ball bros out there, but I want to give some actionable advice to any dynasty manager who may feel that they're being left out of the schedule fund, because I can guarantee you that Javonte Williams will be worth more 3 weeks into the season than he is today. And look, hand up, micro player takes not my greatest strength, but when it comes to manipulation, specifically in the art of trading, that's my best asset. And we all know with trading, the hardest thing to do is convince the other person to be interested in your player. So I say, sit back. Let Pete do the work for you. Let social media, let your group chat do the work for you. All you need is one decent performance, and then you slide in with a Javonte offer, and the deal's already done. I always target players with early season primetime games. Last year, I flipped Hollywood Brown for a second after week 1. Does anyone remember what the Titans did besides Kitchen? So yeah, Javonte, week 1 Giants, week 3 Ravens, both on primetime, probably a cupcake in the middle. It's a lock.
Mitchell was unfazed by the twist.
Good, because I was prepared for that one. So, you got to see how we're doing in the streaming element. I get it.
The clock starts now.
Yeah, so like I was saying, the terrible thing about Javonte Williams is that he's going to be on primetime, okay? And, if your player underperforms in primetime, that's just a death note for the rest of the season. I remember when Mark Andrews, week 1 with Isaiah Likely against the Chiefs that one year, when he got absolutely frame-mogged on Thursday Night Football to start the season, it did not matter what he did afterwards. Everyone was like, he's old, he's busted. So I think it's a trap to put all your faith into early season production, and it could absolutely tank his trade value from there, and you're not going to be able to offload him. Plus, in a dynasty setting, Javonte Williams, more of a short-term asset. I don't really like his longevity, 2-3 seasons down the line. We all know Jerry Jones is always going to invest in a running back. I think he loves stars. I don't really think Javonte has that star power. Jonathan Taylor is a free agent after his season. If you guys don't think Jerry Jones will be first in line to sign Jonathan Taylor, you guys don't know Jerry Jones, you don't know football. So yeah, I'm not touching them.
Pretty damn good. I loved the unique redraft angle on the take as opposed to the typical ADP approach. Mitchell joins Jerry with one of the highest scores from this challenge with an 8.8. It was always going to be hard to fluster someone like Mitchell, who has been eating, sleeping, breathing this contest 24/7.
I felt like there was going to be some sort of a twist there. So I wasn't prepared for that exact twist, but I was prepared in case we needed to make a bear argument on someone.
After a bumpy start with Mayo, Mitchell has pushed himself into lock status. He advances because we think he can tout. Our next contender barely snuck into this round, but he's smart enough to know what made him unforgettable.
Yeah, my name's Jim Waller. I'm a best ball bro, and apparently I've got the most beautiful eyes in the competition.
Jim Waller, who is the best pick on the board right now?
Pete, sometimes this game is easy. The best pick on the board is third round AJ Brown. Why do we draft in May? The first answer is because we're sick in the head and painfully addicted to drafting. But the second answer is that we want to get combinations that won't be available in August. Third round AJ Brown is that. We all know it's coming. And unless Diana Rossini rises like The Undertaker, I'm going to assume he's going to New England. He's going to have less target competition and the best quarterback he's ever played with. And he still offers weekly wide receiver overall #1 upside. So you can draft all the other great players, all the calculated year 2 risers, but the guy that's not going to be there in the third round in August is AJ Brown. So I would draft him now while you can.
That's not actually the prompt you're going to be judged on today.
Love it.
The 60-second clock starts now.
Pete, you can't draft AJ Brown right now. Diana Rossini is a liar. She's been having affairs with Mike Vrabel and half the coaching staffs of the entire league for years. And we're supposed to believe her that AJ Brown is going to be traded to the New England Patriots? It's not happening. So where is he? He's in Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts, who he hates, and more target competition than he's ever seen. Mekhi Lemon is going to slither his way to the #1 target share on the Eagles this year, and Devonta Smith is going to take his rightful place as the #2. AJ Brown, he's aging. If injury doesn't get him, the target competition will. You can't draft AJ Brown on the Eagles.
Waller had scripted some solid lines, but petered out when it came time to improvise on the fly. He looked pretty stiff and uncomfortable to us.
Give myself a 7. You can always do better. I think one of the things I want to do in this competition, if I get to move forward, is continue to grow. So I want to peak at the right time. I don't think that right time has happened yet, but I hope it was enough to get through.
We like Jim. He seems like a genuinely great guy with, yes, very pretty eyes. But he scored low for us with a 4.4 average. For now, we don't think you can tout Jim. On the other end of the spectrum, our next guest came in ready to make a name for himself after his kitchen and his wife initially upstaged him.
Yeah, my name is Trevor Glisson, and I'm a freelance stock trader. I'm currently unemployed. I got a haircut specifically for this interview here, so things are going well.
To be a tout, you need to look good. Just not too good, right, Trevor?
I do think, though, it might actually be bearish for a fantasy tout, to be in shape cosmetically. Don't you want your fantasy tout to be, disheveled, he hasn't left his computer screen for 3 days? Too handsome, and he can't do it. He doesn't have the chops for this.
But enough bullshitting. It was time to find out if Trevor was all nice marble backsplash or if he could actually tout. Trevor, who is the best pick on the board right now?
Yeah, so I think the entirety of my family lineage just sitting up in the ether begging me to say Travis Hunter, but it's not. Roma Dunze is the best pick on the board, man. He's currently going at wide receiver 28. When last season he was wide receiver 14 through 11 weeks before he got hurt. I know foot injuries are serious, but he's being priced like he's a paraplegic. He's going around behind Luther Burden, his teammate. Luther Burden, who has worse draft capital, a worse rookie season, and barely outplayed Theo Weiss Jr. his last season at Missouri. Rome is going as the third Bear receiver off the board, and he's probably going to be the #1 option. He's got a very capable quarterback in Caleb Williams, a top 10 offense last year that's going to be a Ben Johnson year 2 system. He has legitimate wide receiver 12 upside. DJ Moore is leaving 85 targets on the table for him. I think he's just going to smash at ADP, man.
Here's the thing, though, Trevor. That's not actually the prompt you're going to be judged on today.
Fuck, I knew there was going to be a twist, man. All right, let's do it. I love it.
The clock starts now.
Yeah, so the bear case for Rome is pretty simple. He got hurt. The foot injury was real. He opted not to get surgery, right? Luther Burden came in and was necessary for this team. He did soak up all the targets. He did have that rookie year breakout. The human element is real, right? These Chicago Bear coaches know that Luther Burden was the guy when Rome was gone. And he didn't get surgery on that foot. So if he's even less than 100%, if he re-injures it, that's just going to be leeway for Luther Burden to break out. And by the way, we do have Colston Loveland out there too that's going to soak up a lot of the slot targets. So if this is kind of a Luther Burden, Colston Loveland with some Swift underneath show, it is going to be tough for Rome to pay off at this wide receiver 28 price.
Honestly, I was impressed. Trevor's bit submission tried a little too hard for our taste, but he won us over here. He was natural, he had charisma, the content was solid.
I think I did pretty well, even though I literally, when I tell you I love this player, I love this player. So fighting back the urge to just like go pro, I think I did a pretty good. I would say I gave myself an 8 out of 10.
Trevor Glisson joins the locks. We think he can tout. Our next guest is the Adam Scott lookalike, the actor, not the golfer, who promised to boomer mog these youthful tout maxers.
My name is Ian Lawler. I'm a professional guitar player in the Dallas area. I go by Funky Jankets on social media, and I've been playing guitar professionally for about 30 years.
We got right into it. Mr. Lawler, who is the best pick on the board right now?
It's Brock Bowers. He is egregiously mispriced at the 2-3 turn. It's just plain unfair that you can start with Bijan, Gibbs, or Chase and grab Bowers in the second. We haven't seen his ceiling yet. He was hurt most of last year. Now he's healthy. The offensive line was abysmal. Now they've addressed that. The quarterback play was terrible. Now we have Cousins and Mendoza, who should theoretically be improvements. And we had the ghost of Pete Carroll and his Nepo babies on the coaching staff. And now we have Clint Kubiak. So there's no reason he should be this cheap. And you can talk about positional advantage at tight end, but what it comes down to is he is ridiculously good at football. He is so good that you can literally throw the ball at his feet and watch it hit the ground in real time, and he will glitch the matrix and show you on the replay that he caught it. He is Neo. He is the one. And he might not be the 101, but I would be okay taking him there because he's that good and he's going to break fancy.
That was not actually the prompt you're going to be judged on today. The clock starts now.
Okay, tight end is deeper than it's ever been. We have McBride, we have Loveland, we have Warren, we have a whole slew of rookies coming in. Are we really going to trust the Raiders for our fantasy goodness? No, we are not. We are not going to trust the Raiders. Brock Bowers was hurt all last year. We don't know if he's fully healthy. He might be, but we don't know. It's a trap. You cannot spend a second round pick on Brock Bowers when there are so many other tight ends available that are going to score almost as well, if not better.
All right, 30 seconds to spare there. We had high hopes for Lawler after the submission, but let's be honest, this was a tough showing. The first take was well written, but he looked very uncomfortable without the script to carry him through the bear case. He received a 4.8 from us. We love you, Ian, but we don't think you can tout. Next up, Wells Forney. He didn't make the original contenders list. He earned a spot on the Best Ball Bash, where he really impressed me with his on-camera presence and his takes in a more relaxed environment.
I mean, in a sense, it was surreal because I could tell, like, you know, when you're watching Survivor, the person knows they're on the outs. You know what I mean? You can tell that it's like, I'm probably not going to get selected for this. So when the dice rolled my way, I was like, this is my shot. I got to give it 110%. And I just couldn't be more grateful that Peter was just like, you know what? I see something. Let's take a chance on this kid.
He then gave us a decent Brock Bowers bowl case, and I hit him with the twist. Unfortunately, Wells, that's not the prompt you're going to be judged on today.
Okay. Well, if you are a best ball hound like me, the one thing that you have learned throughout the years is ultimately that value is found with late round tight ends. You'll notice that more often than not, if you were to follow JJ Zacharias' principles, that you should be solely going after the tight ends who have a wide receiver that's past wide receiver one that's past pick 60. So ultimately, you want to be targeting those tight ends. Now, yes, Brock Bowers does fit those parameters because he is a guy who has zero competition, but so does Greg Dulcich, so does Pat Freiermuth, so does Brenton Strange, and a whole allotment of other tight ends that you can get at a much cheaper cost. If any variable injury happens to one of these elite receivers, we could see spike weeks for a player like Kyle Pitts all of a sudden. There is plenty of players who could realistically replicate a similar level of value that of someone like Brock Bowers. When we're talking about prospect profiles as the years engage on, I can almost guarantee that there's going to be another prospect that are like, this is the best prospect of all time as these players continue to get more and more athletic and better. So it doesn't matter whether it's dynasty, redraft, or whatever format that you are playing in. This is going to be a declining asset because the hype of yesterday is not going to be there for tomorrow. So this is a player that ultimately I'm not calling.
Wells knew it didn't go great. If you had to score yourself one out of 10 on how you handled that bait and switch, what would you give yourself?
I feel like a 4 or 5. I feel like I could have made a much stronger bear case against him. But ultimately, that's what it is. That was the case I presented, so that's what I got to live with. So I will live with a 4 or 5. Let the people judge.
We would have loved to seen a Cinderella run from Wells, but 4.5 wasn't going to cut it. He might be able to tout on TikTok, but we don't think he can tout here. Not everyone today gave us a clear verdict, though. In fact, most of this group left us with more questions than answers. And that's actually fine, because we're gonna let you guys decide. These next 6 contenders did enough to avoid elimination, but not enough to punch a lock. Their fate is going to come down to an audience vote that we'll be announcing at the end of this video. So pay attention, because you're going to have a say in who survives and who goes home. The first one of these tweeners is a contestant who still insists on wearing sunglasses.
My name's Chris the Candyman. I'm a content creator in the fantasy football space.
Chris, tell me, who is the best pick on the board right now?
That's a great question, Pete. Early on in my projections and research for this season, there was one pick that stood out, one player that I couldn't ignore. There's a huge signal, and it's Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, year over year, his fantasy points per game went down over 9 points per game, right? One of the biggest drop-offs, it was the biggest drop-off among active players from 24 to 25, whether we had the injuries and some lack of rushing production, but over 9 points per game, that's the same magnitude as Devonta Smith's entire fantasy points per game last season. So imagine losing one Devonta Smith out of your Lamar Jackson. Like, that's the magnitude we're talking about. Lamar Jackson has been one of the best assets for fantasy football throughout his career. He's in the legendary tier according to the Fantasy Life. One of only 3 quarterbacks averaging over 20 fantasy points per game throughout his entire career. He has the same upside as Josh Allen.
Unfortunately, Candyman, that's not the prompt you're going to be judged on today.
Oh, really?
The clock starts now.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson's actually one of the worst picks on the board. Early on when I was doing my projections, I was looking at his bear case, and I just don't think we're getting the same guy anymore. We have a new offensive coordinator, Declan Doyle. We have a new coach, Jesse Minter, who's a very defensive-minded guy, won the national championship with Michigan a couple years ago with that strong defense. You know, we've seen the Ravens invest in the draft in some offensive weapons, but a 3rd-round pick, a 4th-round pick in receivers, I'm just not really convinced it's all there. I think what we saw in Lamar Jackson's drop-off in rushing attempts last season continues. We've already heard Jesse Minter talk about keeping his quarterback healthy and wanting to limit those reps. So I just think the upside is capped, and I think we're still paying that expensive old Lamar price for him.
Structured, sharp, Candyman was solid all around. He got a 7.1. But I had to ask about the sunglasses. When are we going to see if his eyes can rival Jim Waller's?
While wearing sunglasses, I can't even read text right now. When I'm drafting, it's like a handicap. These guys are lucky that I'm wearing sunglasses. If I wasn't wearing sunglasses, I probably would have won Best Ball Mania already.
Candyman is good. Is he good enough, though? That's for you to decide. Our next tout forced his way into this competition after his initial submission didn't grab us. His follow-up confessional content changed our minds. It was time to see if he could prove that he deserved to be in this contest.
I'm Brian Hartman. I'm a content creator here in the fantasy football space, and a little in the movie space, I guess, too.
We then asked him the question of the day. Brian, who is the best pick on the board right now in fantasy?
Honestly, I've got to tell you, I've drafted Cam Scatabo so many times this offseason. I feel like I've got CTE myself. Like, the Jeremiah to the Big Apple hype was just, it was building so much. The ADP was falling down draft boards, and all of a sudden, he's gone. He's not going there anymore. And probably, you know, a great thing as far as like what we're looking for in that running back, because now the price is going up. You're having to pay a little bit more, but instead they didn't bring in that running back. They brought in a different one. They brought in Patrick Ricard. Somebody to go block for his ass. Somebody to go make some holes for him. And who did that? Yes, the old school running head coach, John Harbaugh's coming to town. And may I add, Henry led the league in not only 10 zone, but 5 zone rushes there. So come on, a guy that can not only catch the ball, pound you in some touchdowns too, absolutely great. But I think the part that annoys me the most is the fact that we see Travion Henderson going ahead of him right now. And maybe I'm just scared of the Patriots running backs, but between Ramondre Stevenson and Mike Vrabel, commitment seems optional in New England. So like 7 touchdowns in 7 games for Cam Scatabo was great.
As a fan of reality TV, he wasn't too shocked there was more to this challenge.
I figured as much.
The clock starts now.
Cam Scatterbo, why would I want him right now? You're talking about the guy that's coming off the injury. He probably doesn't even know he's injured right now. He's still running around there without the cast or anything. So just you've got the multiple injuries that have built up on him, and he may be great. He absolutely could be great to start the season, but does that hold up? Does this offense hold back? Like, I know Malik Neighbors just had a cleanup surgery on his knee, but I think he's going to be back, baby. We saw Jackson Dart have, it was 20% lower red zone efficiency than any other quarterback in the league last year. So you're telling me we're not going to get more receiving touchdowns with just that going up, plus the added talent of Malik Neighbors? Absolutely. And then Isaiah Likely comes to town. Yeah, John Harbaugh's boy. That's the guy that he wants to bring in there. He wants to make some magic. Let's let the ball fly. And of course, Tyrone Tracy, he's no scrub. Converted wide receiver. The guy's going to go soak up some targets from Cam Scatterbo. That makes me nervous, So, yep, there it is. I lost it right there. But Cam, I had the clock in my head, so I thought I had it just there.
Hartman is a tweener. It was pretty solid there. The charisma was good, but as you saw at the end, he was clearly flustered. He scored a 7, but he's still compelling and will need you guys to reveal how you feel about him in the vote. Our next guy was one of the more polarizing figures from the audition round.
My name is Buck St. Thomas. I'm an aspiring content creator in the fantasy football space.
The best ball community loved Buck's submission, Mayo didn't, and outsiders felt like it wasn't for them. The knock has always been the same. Does Buck have the energy to pull people in who don't already know him? This was his chance to answer that.
Are you going to give me a clock I can see?
Yeah, if you want me, no one else has asked for it yet. I flash it when I start it, but if you'd like me to just keep it down here so you can see it, I'm fine with that.
Can I just do it too?
Yep. I will.
No one's asked you that?
No.
No one wants to see the clock?
Not one. You are the first person today to ask for the clock. He then gave us a well-reasoned bull case on Tucker Kraft.
It's Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft is the best pick on the board. Oh, he goes in the quarterback pocket. Yeah, well, it's only called the quarterback pocket because you guys decided to call it that, and you guys are wrong all the time. So I'll be stuffing my pockets with at least 25% of Tucker Kraft. This mother Tucker was tight end 2 last year in points per game. In yards after contact per attempt with 10.8, he was first among all tight ends and wide receivers, which is kind of nuts if you think about it. He injured his ACL in November, and his recovery is ahead of schedule. He's cheap simply because people forget. I think the Packers are going to throw more this year. LaFleur said they're going to tear it all down. They got rid of Dobbs and Wicks, and they didn't add any other competition either. Manny Wilson left. They didn't add anybody else behind Jacobs, and if Jacobs gets banged up like he does, I think they're going to pass a lot. And quarterbacks are being pulled up because of fear. Kraft is getting pushed down, and I just feel like he has overall tight end 1 in his range of outcomes. He's a great blocker, doesn't come off the field. Even better pick in Superflex.
Unfortunately, Buck, that is not the prompt you're going to be judged on today.
All right, give it to me.
Your clock starts now.
Well, Tucker Kraft is coming off of a blown ACL in November. He has a history of injuries, and their new OC is the former run game coordinator and was like the offensive line coach before that. So they're probably going to run the crap out of the ball. We know what LaFleur does, and it doesn't really matter who he has behind Jacobs because, he'll throw Marshawn Lloyd out there if he's healthy. He'll throw Chris Brooks out there if he's healthy. Christian Watson, clear alpha. They just loaded up Jaden Reed for like 3 more years. Matthew Golden, first round pick last year, heavy capital investment. He's a great pick as well. And he's probably going to take a leap. They're going to do a completely new scheme. So maybe Tucker Kraft won't be as heavily targeted as he was towards the end of that season. Touchdown regression, yada, yada. He's a farm boy. He doesn't know how to work out properly. He hurts his back like Larry Bird, putting in a cement walkway for his mom. These kind of things can happen. You never know. But most of the time, all tight ends are good picks also, and that's actually probably the best case.
I asked him for an honest self-assessment.
The Bull, 7, and the Bear, 7. Only because I know what I'm capable of. I expect other people to think it's higher. That was an amazing twist.
We appreciated the candor from Buck because we were in lockstep. We gave him a 7.2. He has the ceiling to go far, but he needs work. I know you know your stuff. I know that you know how to build an argument. And you also know how to edit. Your video was very fun, the pacing, all of that. The question is, in these live environments, I think we just need to see a little more energy from you.
I think that's super fair criticism. And actually, like when Pat said that, kind of a light bulb went off in my head. And also, Rick said that too. Rick was like, I don't know if he's going to be able to bring the energy. And I turned to my wife, who I clearly talk to a lot about this. And I was like, these people don't know how wacky I am. Like, I'm a crazy dude. And once I get riffing and once we get going, like, you know, I might have to dial it down.
We believe him, but eventually we'll have to see it. For now, Buck St. Thomas is a tweener. His fate is in your hands. Next up was an applicant whose submission we love for its creativity, but earned only an average score from Mayo.
My name is Michael O'Hara, writer, podcaster, doing all things fantasy, best ball, redraft for the most part, but just kind of doing a little bit of everything.
Just don't call him a young buck.
I'm a little bit older than everyone seems to think. I saw some of the other content putting out, and they were talking about me going around my college campus doing this. I'm 25, so it's a little bit older, but I'm not in college. I've been out of this for a few years.
I should boot him off the show just for thinking 25 is old. But regardless, he joined Chosen in trying to give us a strong case for BTJ.
Yeah, I think it's quite clearly Brian Thomas Jr. I think I'm going to go from this for a little bit more of a macro perspective, just from the sense that in those middle rounds 4 through 7, I just really think people are just trying to fill out their roster spots, find points, as opposed to just trying to find those players who can really change and define a season. And I think Brian Thomas Jr. has pretty clearly demonstrated that he can do that. I don't really need to get into the nitty-gritty details of the metrics in year 1 versus year 2. I think we all kind of know what that is, but I think the ceiling is very much defined. You can question his fit in Liam Cohen's offense. You can question his target competition this year. I know is pretty light in 2024, but I think that he has clearly shown that the 1,300-yard, 10 to a dozen touchdown season is in his range of outcomes, and we need to be targeting those kinds of profiles in those middle rounds if we want to win these massive best ball and even redraft leagues. You need the handful of players who define a season. I think Brian Thomas can do that 100%, so I will be targeting him instead of the other guys in that range.
Unfortunately, Michael, that's not the prompt you're going to be judged on today. The clock starts now.
Yeah, I think we all kind of know what it is. The metrics came plummeting down, lower target rate, lower target share, lower yards per route run. And does Liam Cohen even like this guy? I mean, he tried him out in that kind of versatile, kind of do it all, be the featured wide receiver role, and it didn't work out. And by the end of the season, he was just kind of running those clear out routes, getting downfield, not drawing targets at a high rate. So is this guy truly the best receiver in Jacksonville? Is Travis Hunter better than him? Is Jacoby Myers better than him? I don't really think that there's a clear-cut case for Brian Thomas Jr. to be the best wide receiver in Jacksonville. So is he going to be in a featured role? Is Liam Cohen going to be scheming up touches for him? Will he have the volume to be able to return value from the 6th round? Or is he just going to be relying on these chunk plays, inconsistent touchdowns, the long plays to get it done? I don't think it's not a guarantee. It could happen, but we'll just have to wait and see, because last year, in the first year in the new scheme, he didn't quite fit in, and now Travis Hunter's going to be back. Things are only getting worse for him target-wise.
O'Hara gave one of the most composed responses to the twist of any contender. He was on high alert at this point.
I had a feeling a rug pull of sorts was coming. Obviously, had seen the After Dark stream where you rug pulled Emo there, so I knew to be on my toes and prepared for anything. Didn't know it was going to be the give the inverse bear case for the exact same player I was just hyping up, but I think it went fine.
O'Hara is a tweener. Like Buck, he scored a 7.2. His case for a spot is solid, but is it enough to separate from the other tweeners? Next, we have the man with 2 names.
Hi, I'm Blaine Robinson. Most people call me Blizzy. I'm a fantasy football enthusiast, and I also work in media.
Blizzy decided to land the plane for Updog with a Tank Bigsby take.
Peter, if I told you there's a running back right now who finished number 1 in explosive run rate last year, minimum 50 attempts, finished number 1 in EPA per rush attempt, minimum 50 attempts. He's free at the end of drafts. He's a guy that you can get in best ball for basically free in the last couple rounds. He's a guy in redraft that if you get him on your team early, you will not need to go to the waiver wire and blow $75 mid-season. He plays behind a guy who had 828 touches over the past 2 seasons. Number 1 in the NFL, unless of course you count Mike Vrabel touching Diana Rossini, but I don't count that. Saquon Barkley is going to run out of steam at some point. They traded for Tank Bigsby. Go get him on your squad now. Get him at the end of best ball drafts. Don't wait to have to pay $75 for this guy in week 9 so he's on your team for the best ball playoffs, the fantasy playoffs and redraft. Get him now on your team, Tank Bigsby.
Unfortunately, Blaine, that is not the prompt you're going to be judged on today.
Alrighty.
Your 60 seconds starts now.
You guys absolutely cannot take Tank Bigsby, and here's the reason why. The Jaguars drafted him with a draft pick and then got rid of him and brought in Bashal Tutin, said good riddance to Bigsby, you got to get the hell out of here. Then what happens after that? He gets the fortunate injury to Will Shipley last year, and it propels him from kick returner, which was kind of what Sirianni said that he was going to be, a kick returner, a punt returner, and maybe do some special teams work. Will Shipley was their guy. What happened week 1 last year? Will Shipley goes down. It propels Tank Bigsby. We don't know this year. Is Tank Bigsby truly the RB2? Do his pass catching chops, where he fails in that regard, give way for Will Shipley to see the field more because Will Shipley is a natural pass catcher? It's too dangerous to take Tank Bigsby. You can't do it. You don't even know if he's the RB2 on his own team.
And then, because Blizzy is Blizzy, he asked for 15 more seconds after the whole thing was over because he wanted to freestyle for me. Time was tight, but I said, sure, go for it.
2026, man, what's the bigger threat? Donald Trump assassins or Peter Overzet? One's got a big mouth, but he's got clout. The other hosts a show, and he's looking for a tout. A square named Tony, maybe PPR Tyler. Shouts to Minnesota. No, they just signed Kyler. Chad got a lock. No, he lit up like a candle. But I'm going the distance, and that's word to Mickey Mantle. Let's go!
Okay, a little extra credit, showing some range, but we gave him a 6.8 for the actual challenge. What we ultimately need is for him to bring the energy from the rap battle into the delivery of his fantasy takes. Ultimately, it'll be up to you guys to decide if you want to give Blizzy another chance to get there. Up next, we have our clavicular parody man.
My name is Eric, also known as Gumby. I am a physical therapist and dog bowl champion.
We honestly didn't know what to make of Gumby. Was he serious? We decided to ask him to send us a mulligan submission to reveal his true intentions with this contest.
I'm going to be honest, Peter. I don't think I can tout. I don't think I want to tout. I don't think you think I can tout. And I don't even think you want to tout. You want someone who's entertaining. You don't want player takes. Who cares about player takes? It's not interesting. If you want player takes, you go to ETR. You listen to Mike Leone. You listen to Dink. You listen to Shady. You don't listen to these 26 bozos who have never won anything. I won a dog bowl championship. All I did was upload ETR and draft. It's not interesting. No one cares. I want to make fun of you, Peter. I want you to make fun of me. I want to make fun of each other. I want to do a funny video series with you. If I win this competition, I already have 3 ideas for series that I want to do with you. No one else has that. I have that. I'm different. I'm unique. I'm a little crazy. I'm a physical therapist. All I do all day is entertain people for an hour while their body heals itself. If I was boring, no one would come back. People like to listen to me. I like to listen to myself. If I wanted to draft best ball teams with Brian and grind that, that's what I would do. It's not interesting. No one cares. You know I can do this, Peter. I'm different. I'm entertaining. And I've never given an interesting player take in my life. But I'm still here.
This guy drives me fucking crazy. He doesn't want to tout. He has ideas, but he won't tell me those ideas. He said he's never given an interesting player take. Fine, last chance. Let's see if that last part is true.
Mr. Gumby, who is the best pick on the board right now?
So I said in my truth serum that the best way to maximize your fun and your edge in fantasy football is to favorite team max. And someone on my favorite team who is underrated, Tyrone Tracy. Not because he's this great fantasy football player. He's a great real football player. I don't care. Who cares? Not important. All I know is Cam Scadaboo, big time injury, new coach coming in. The right tail on his outcomes is way bigger than anyone else going around him. He's definitely locked in as the backup running back and might be the starting running back. Who knows what Harbaugh wants to do. And that's what we're trying to do. Like it's one slate. It's fantasy football. Crazy things happen. We want the guys with the right tail. I'm not going to tell you who the best player is. I'm not going to tell you this guy's a 51-49 coin flip. Not important. I'm telling you, Tyrone Tracy, right tail.
Gumby, that's not the prompt you're going to be judged on tonight.
That's fine.
Your 60 seconds starts now.
Do you think John Harbaugh doesn't like Cam Scadaboo? Have you seen this guy? They're the same player. Cam Scadaboo, football guy. Modern medicine is so good. Cam Scadaboo is going to come back better than ever. He's best friends with the franchise quarterback, Jackson Dart. And we're drafting Tyrone Tracy at 120. What are we thinking? Cam Scadaboo's the guy. Everyone was afraid that they were going to draft a running back. They don't draft a running back, and he doesn't move. And people are afraid to draft Cam Scatterbo. Stupid.
32 seconds to spare. So quick on the bear case, but not too shabby, not too shabby. What would you give yourself 1 out of 10 on how you handled that?
10. I argue things I don't believe in all day.
Like Chosen, Gumby has some irrational confidence. We gave him a 6.6, and then we actually had an honest conversation.
Are you prepared to play ball, or are you just trying to get some lulls from the Hoops Discord along the way? That's what we're trying to understand.
I mean, I'm trying to get both.
Okay. Well, let me see. I mean, if you're going to be the antagonist, then you better start being the antagonist. Start poking holes in these guys, the ones who are taking them too serious as ball knowers, or telling the people who don't know enough ball that they don't know anything. We need you to play that role if that's the role you think you can play.
I think I can win this competition, but there's going to be a lot of pressure from a lot of people who don't want me to win. There's a lot of people in Discord that don't want to see me do a show with you. They'd rather be dead than watch me do a show with you. That's my biggest competition.
We genuinely don't know what to do with Gumby, and that's exactly why we're putting it to a vote. If you guys like Gumby's weirdo energy, then vote for him. If not, we're sending him back down into the Discord threads. Gumby wasn't the only bit submission. There were 2 other clever ones who we wanted to give another chance to tell us who they really are, Neil Farley and Emo Cowboy. We know these guys are sharp, but we genuinely didn't know if they actually wanted to compete or if they just wanted to get some lulls from their existing fans. We needed to hear the truth, so like Gumby, we gave them a mulligan submission. Here was Neil Farley's.
Hey, thanks for taking a look at my first video and finding it interesting enough to invite me back and not finding it as dreadfully awkward as I found it myself. Obviously, I was trying to have a lot of fun with my first video and just kind of mess around a bit and show that maybe I'm not just all built out of numbers and a complete robot. So I had, that was fun to make and stuff, but I also wouldn't have submitted it if this wasn't something I was very interested in myself. So I've always loved these different board games and like strategy games that I sort of equate to fantasy football. So this is something that like I would love to sort of be able to continue to go to like deeper depth and like mess around and like talk with people about strategies and like how they interact and like where we think potential exploits are in the game now as it shifts and evolves, as even from like a week to week or like a season to season basis. That's something that I've always enjoyed. So how do I sort of see myself embodying that or like working towards that later? Like, I think maybe like I would love to be able to like emulate Sam Sherman on ADP chasing or Madison Park Hill's reducing uncertainty in some sort of way where I'm able to like be fun and interactive, but at the same time, like I show like a depth of analysis and thought that goes into this that maybe some other people don't have quite as much. And why should someone care about me? Maybe I should talk about like death in my family or something crazy for the reality show aspect, but I think it's just I offer something different and I'm a pretty eccentric person, so hopefully that comes through. Thanks.
Love seeing the real Neil there. He might not be as compelling on camera as some of our other locks, but he brings something completely different to the table than a majority of our contestants. We're going to give Neil a chance to show his full range. He's advancing. That brings us to Emo Cowboy, a different situation entirely. We've been pressing Tyler for weeks after his bit submission, as well as his polarizing After Dark performance, asking him essentially, do you just want attention or do you actually want to compete?
Tyler says, can I push back on how bad he wants it for a guy who's been doing this for 3 years with barely any traction? No one's been more dedicated to grinding. Tyler, I don't think you're listening, dude. It's not. Yeah, I think you want to make content and have fun with your friends and do bits online. Absolutely. We're asking what do you want from this competition? What do you want out of it? Do you want a full-time job? Do you want site credits? We know nothing about what you want out of this competition. And I'm not going to do your homework for you, but I would take that to heart. Take that feedback to heart because because I've said it in like multiple ways, different turns of phrase to you. We have no clue how badly you want it, what you want out of this. And you do have an assignment now to actually show us that. But the ball is in your court, buddy, because we honestly don't know. There's lots of people out there doing streaming and stuff that we have no idea how that actually pertains to this contest. So you know the assignment, and I'm excited to see you rise to the occasion, buddy.
So like Gumby and Neil, we said, send us a new submission. No bits, no retweets. It's just for us.
What up? I'm Tyler, the Emo Cowboy. Who am I and why do I want to win? Well, I'm a Houston native, born and raised, and I've been working since I was 9 years old, spreading horse manure and doing landscaping for rich people's acreage in the Houston summer heat. Nearly stroked out several times. I have been working all my life. I worked a full-time job half my high school career. I worked a full-time job 3/4 of my collegiate career. I have been grinding nonstop for everything I've ever had. I used to be homeless twice, and now I own a home. I was told I would never amount to anything, that a grocery store job was all I could do. Now I've been working in the space industry, and I've put hardware with my name on it in space for half my life. I love dealing with people tell me I can't do. People told me I can't tout. I don't belong here. I'm the black sheep. I took the wrong path into this. I was the funny bit sex joke guy who just loved fantasy football. And I do. I grind the news. I grind the medicals. I grind the stats as hard as anybody. I love being right and delivering the rightness for my fans and for anybody to win. And I just love the game. I love being shirtless. I love sex. I'm hot. I'm horny. I was born to tout. I've been doing this for free for years. I'm not making it anywhere, but this is my chance to have a platform, earn respect, and have validation to finally launch the next stage of my career.
There it is. Finally. That's all we wanted. The real Tyler from Houston, the man behind the emo cowboy, revealing what he wants out of this experience. That was the true serum. And with that transparency, emo, a fan favorite, survives and advances. Like Rick, you might love it or you might hate it, but we can't imagine the next stage of this show without emo. Welcome aboard. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, isn't there one more contender that's only 19? Where is Best Ball Guy, the third member of the Toxic Tower who earned a spot to this round after getting booted from After Dark? How did he do in the Tout Twist Challenge, you might be wondering? Good question. I obviously want your guys' opinion on how he did, but I was also curious what his co-host, and So You Think You Can Tout Lock, PPR Tyler, thought of his performance. So I gave Tyler a sneak peek of BBG's challenge before this episode came out. Take a guess. I'm now curious what you think it is.
If this is not Drake May or Travion Henderson, he is an absolute fraud.
My favorite pick in best ball for 2026 is Travion Henderson. Henderson is currently the running back 20 off the board, even though in his rookie campaign he had 1,100 yards and 10 total touchdowns. People are concerned with Ramondre being a factor, but yet Henderson averaged more points per touch and more touches per game than Ramondre last season. On top of that, we had one of the best rookie running back classes of all time, and Henderson still outperformed all of them in breakaway percentage. That is extremely important for best ball, as we know. Furthermore, the New England Patriots have invested their last two first-round picks in offensive line and have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, ensuring that the offensive environment is going to remain very stable. I don't think we've seen the ceiling even close for Henderson yet, and I fear that people are legitimately passing on Jahmyr Gibbs 2.0.
Unfortunately, BBG, that's not the prompt you're going to be judged on today.
Okay.
Here's your real challenge.
Okay, let's do this.
You just told me why Travion Henderson is the best pick on the board. Now I want you to forget everything you just said, and in 60 seconds, make the bear case against Travion Henderson.
Travion Henderson is one of the riskiest picks you can make in best ball right now for a lot of different reasons. One being that we saw Ramondre Stevenson legitimately take the job during the most important games of the season. We saw during the postseason, Ramondre carried the bulk of the work, and I remember looking at his game logs, actually averaged over 10 points per game during those late season runs. If you look at the fantasy playoffs, weeks 16, 17, I know we don't count 18, Ramondre all double-digit scoring then, while Henderson flopped and only scored 5 or less points in those remaining games. On top of that, Henderson has been terrible at pass pro, and we know how important that is for a Vrabel offense and getting yourself out on the field. And when you're looking at guys that go around that range, you're looking at legitimate bell cows, Scatabo, potentially Bucky Irving, Judkins, these guys that can amass a large workload, whereas Henderson will be a part-time running back and can be a little sketchy from that perspective in fantasy. There's a lot of bell cows that go right before him, so on and so forth.
It's so funny because the first take, I felt like I was at a job interview. I thought like he put on his job interview voice. That's what he had. I've never heard that. I've streamed countless amounts of hours with this guy. I've never heard that voice from him, not once. He's obviously reading off a script. Oh, I think the whatever, like Travion Henderson with all these 20+ point per game stuff. Like, I've never heard that voice from him in my life. But that second one's actually good. Like, that's off the cuff. Like, that's actually have that in his bag a little bit. I I like the why Travion sucked take better than the script reading from the first one of why he's good.
Dude, that was actually a theme of a lot of the contenders where they overly scripted it. And that was kind of the trap, but the trap actually made them look better in the thing that should have made them more flustered just because they were natural. I'm like, why are you reading a script to me? Actually just talk to me, and it is way more natural.
Yeah, 100%. If I would have had this challenge, I definitely would have never done it like that.
So yeah, like how would you, I've been asking everybody 0 to 10 on the performance for the totality of the challenge. What would you give him?
I'd give him let's go 7.7, because the first I didn't like the first. That's not him. BBG is best when he is himself, and the second part of that of why Travion Henderson is not a good pick at ADP was way better. Like a description of himself than the script reading he was doing. So I'll give him a 7.7 because on the fly, he didn't even stutter that much. He actually had some stuff off the top of his head, especially if he didn't know that's what the prompt was going to be. I thought he actually did pretty good. So but 7.8 for my boy.
7.8. Yeah, and I would say based on our grading and everyone else, that's along the lines of how we felt, like average, slightly above average. But, the reason I'm here is because BBG does once again find himself as a tweener in this competition, like on the outside looking in. And I'm actually going to let you decide his fate here today, Tyler.
Is he in or is he out, or am I picking between somebody?
No, there's I want to make an offer to you, and you get to decide what is more important.
All right, let's hear the offer. Let's hear it.
So the first offer is BBG advances again in the same way on After Dark. He got an auto advance to this one. He'll get an auto advance to join you in the locks in the next portion of this contest. The other option is I talked to some of the people at Underdog today, and I said, would I be able to get some site credits for PPR Tyler? And Numi said, absolutely. He's like, I can get him in the account whenever. What do you need? And I said, I would like to offer PPR Tyler $500 in site credits. He can draft Superflex teams, pit bulls, whatever his heart desires. And he said, excellent deal. And that part, I promise, I know I've fucked around with you guys a lot. That is completely true. I could send you the clip later.
Yeah, I think we can make that happen. I think we can make that happen for the guys.
So you have a decision. BBG advances, or immediately after this call, you get $500 in site credits dropped in your Underdog account.
What's funny is when you asked me to come on today, I was fully I thought you were totally there was no doubt in my mind it was going to be a BBG or emo. You're going to make me choose between the tower, which was going to be a way easier decision. I already had BBG was going to advance in that scenario in my mind had you presented it. But you couldn't have offered it to a guy who's more broke, who's in more need of the money. The tower site credits are dwindling fastly. Oh man.
And you know what I'm going to do? In honor of this challenge and them getting 60 seconds, I'm going to give you 60 seconds to make this decision. The timer starts now. You can talk it out, of course, how you're feeling.
My gut says I need it. And my gut says, as much as I love BBG, the odds of him winning I feel like aren't good. So I'm just delaying the inevitable in my mind. But going back to the tower with the site credits and then he's out of the competition. I can't. He might quit the show. This guy, he's emotionally unstable. He might quit the show. How much time am I at? Because
that's 28 seconds.
That's the thing I'm thinking about. Is this. He's probably not going to win. He would have $10 in the auction draft today. $10. The confidence obviously isn't that high in him.
13 seconds.
Fork over those fucking site credits, Numi. I want my $500, baby. Give it to me.
They're coming. They are coming. Thank you. PPR Tyler, $500 in site credits will be hitting your account soon. Incredible stuff there, Tyler. Later.
Talk to you later.
Peace. So where does that leave us? We have 6 new cuts. Best Adam, Wells 4.
Jim Waller, BB Updog. We've got the existing locks, PPR Tyler, Goofy Chicken, Tony Square, Zach McDonald, Alex Cups, Chad Candles, and Rick Aduzel. And now we have the 7 new locks joining them. Derek Geary, Mitchell Daigle, Trevor Glisson, Nathaniel Wright, Kurt Rambis, Neil Farley, and Emo Cowboy. That's 14 total and leaves us with 6 remaining tweeners. So here's what's going to happen. Immediately following this video, which if you're watching this live is in just a couple of minutes, I will be hosting a live elimination vote with the 6 tweeners from the Contender Challenge. These 6 will be in the voting pool: Michael O'Hara, Brian Hartman, Candyman, Blizzy, Buck St. Thomas, and Gumby. And the audience will vote for who they want to be eliminated. That's right, you aren't casting for who you like, but rather who you want to see booted from the show. In the first vote, the top 3 earning vote getters will be booted, meaning the top 3 most disliked out of the 6 will be gone. Then we'll vote again with the remaining 3, and the top earning vote getter will be eliminated. That will leave 2 final locks who survive both of those rounds of voting to join our cast of 16 and earn another challenge. In the meantime, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the next episode, and head to soyouthinkyoucantout.com. Check out the tiers tab where you can tier rank all of the remaining contestants and share it with your friends on social and in Discord. I'm Pete Overzet. This is So You Think You Can Tout. We'll see you next time.